energy. Don't know what that is.
It's not like Zen.
Yeah,
Hey.
like kind of like, you know, just picks up the energy out of the air. How we doing, Jay?
I'm all right, McCullough. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I am absolutely shitting.
I know, mate. I'm nervous. Do you know why we're nervous, though?
Why?
Because it's like a title race.
Is it? Are we able to say that?
Well, at the moment, we are in a title race, aren't we? Let's face facts. We're in one right now.
Points per game, we're top of the
You
league.
can't be you can't be where we are in the league and say, oh, we're not really in a title race yet. Well, we are. I mean, it might not last all season. I hope it does. But at this moment in time, we're in one. As Joe always says, you're in one.
Is that what Joe always
What
says?
does he say? He says, you wanted a title race, sonny.
Go on, say
Say that again, Joe, please.
I know what he says. I'll say
Go
what
on.
he said. Because clearly people at home can't hear Joe in these
And
headphones.
I missed what he said.
You better start believing in
That's
title
it.
races because you are in one. That is the message
Very
from
true.
Joe.
He's very
in
true
Jay's
when he says
headphones.
that.
Yeah, I'm really scared about it because obviously it's all come up to this, isn't it? Like I think this week is the decider of whether it is a title race.
Okay.
Really and truly.
Yeah.
I think Liverpool and City have to be regarded as favourites. Is that fair?
I think you're right, especially with City, because they've almost gone under the radar and they're getting their act together, aren't they?
They are getting their act together, unfortunately. And we're there, but we know we're a little bit... I compared us to Amir Khan on the fan cabs with me and Steve the other day. Like, we're capable.
I
at the
like
moment.
Amir Khan.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
Amir Khan, I think, is totally underrated.
Yeah.
But
Nice guy as well. I've interviewed him.
we've got a great attack,
Yeah.
capable.
Yeah.
We can cause some damage.
So I know where you're going with this.
But
Now
we're
I'm starting
very
to
chinny.
worry. Yeah.
But we will
Mate.
take on anyone. And we can beat anyone on any given day. But they can also beat us
Yeah.
on any given day.
That's a good analogy, but it's a scary one as well. Yeah, so I get where you're coming from with that. I mean, you're right. And the thing is, a lot of the attention and the focus will be about the Scousers on the Liverpool game at the weekend.
Yeah.
But this is one where, you know, it's not a given, is it?
It's not.
Burnley. And you can't just go, oh, we'll just get Burnley out of the way and then we focus on the Liverpool game. It's not that easy. And I think if you lose or draw this game, you go into that Liverpool game deflated. And you're like, you're still in it. Do you know what I mean? And if you get a result at Anfield, more so. But you need to be going in on the back of a win, really, don't we?
Yeah, to go there and not win would be massively disappointed. And if you
Yeah.
look at our last 5 meetings against Burnley, we obviously had that 2-0 defeat. Oh, God, we've already... And then we beat them 2-0, 2-2 draw, 2-0 win, and a 1-0 win. So our performances against them are quite decent. Obviously, we had that 2-2 draw against them when Ollie was well and truly at the wheel when we were at Old Trafford, if you remember. And it kind of halted us in our tracks.
Yeah, that
didn't
was
it?
the first one we
When it
dropped
felt
points.
like
Yeah,
we were-
you're right.
We were going for the
Yeah,
top 4 at
mate.
that point. And then if we take a look back to that 2-0 loss last January, I think it's crazy how these things work out. It's crazy how the fixture list goes. But this time last year,
Yeah, it almost is. a
played
year,
Burnley
isn't
and
it?
Liverpool,
Yeah.
and we lost back-to-back games 2-0. We've got Burnley and Liverpool this time around. Completely different scenario. Win them, you're 6 points clear. It's incredible how things have changed. What would you credit for us being in this kind of position? Is it just because everyone above us in terms of Liverpool and City have fell off? Or have we kind of...
It's the perfect storm almost. For starters, Bruno Fernandes. Let's not kid ourselves. Yeah, get that one out of the way. He's made a massive difference. But if you look what happened, it's a good sort of barometer because that Burnley game was, for me, the low point. I was watching your fan cam from it before, and it was like it felt like the whole club, like the Glazers, the squad, everything, it just isn't good enough. And it's all sort of crumbling. It's all coming together now. And one signing has almost sort of turned it around. And then obviously what happened as well, Paul Pogba comes back into the team. Anthony Martial starts hitting some form. Marcus Rashford hits some form. So you've got all these sort of several things that have come together nicely at the same time, going back from when that Burnley game where I think Martial just come back from injury, Marcus was injured, Pogba was injured, we hadn't signed Bruno. So you've got like sort of 3 or 4 world-class players or there or thereabouts who've come back into the team and made that big difference. And I think that when you look at that, coupled with 1 or 2 other players who have stepped up their game a little bit, then that's why we're in the position we're in. Because yes, you can argue that the top teams have their performances have lowered a little bit, but we've raised our game as well. And you watch United now, we're just a better team than we were 12 months ago. All over the pitch, we're better. Do you know what I mean? And it's more enjoyable to watch as well, because after that Burnley game, mate, I thought Ollie was on borrowed time. You know I'm an Ollie fan, but I thought, I don't know if he's going to survive much longer. And the last 12 months have been pretty ridiculous when you think where we were and where we are now.
I mean, well, if we just look at the stats there in terms of the Premier League results, 30 played, 19 wins, 8 draws in that, 3 defeats. So, lost 10% of them games. And I mean, 1 in 10 isn't a bad record, is it? I mean, usually, if you'd used to say about 10 years ago, that kind of record you'd win the league with. If
100%.
38 game season, if you only lost 3, you'd win the league.
Yeah.
So it is good form, and that is why, more so than where we are in the league, obviously where we are in the league helps, and I think Liverpool and Man City dropping off massively helps. I don't think we would be involved if they hadn't. But also, that is what gives me confidence that we could possibly be in it. And when I was saying it at the start of the year, and I said it as a joke, like before the season started, and then as the games kept going by, when everyone was talking about Chelsea and Spurs being involved, I think it was on the kickoff maybe, I said, hold on a minute, because Spurs are Spurs. Chelsea have Lampard, and the season has just started. These fixtures are going to come so thick and fast. The pre-season hasn't been great. Now, I didn't expect us to go on the kind of run we had, especially after the Arsenal game. But we have managed to do that. And when you look at the form, I think only Liverpool and City are better than us in this league. So if Liverpool don't win it, I think City might, but we've got a chance.
And I think, I know it's not, this is very Arsenal in it to look at the last 12 months, but we're doing it because it's the Burnley game. But if you look at that, I think there's only Scousers who've probably taken more points during that time than we have, which goes to show, like you were saying, you look at the other teams that were being suggested, and you've hit the nail on the head there. Chelsea, Frank Lampard, is he going to win a title? I can't see that happening at all. Spurs, I think Jose, people getting excited, weren't they, when they started doing all right at the beginning of the season, but we all know Jose's not the man he used to be. He isn't. And I think also, brutally honest, if Jose won the League Cup with Spurs, they'd be buzzing. He hadn't won a trophy for 12 years, 13 years. Do you know what I mean? So it's like different levels. But I think the way United are playing now, there's a real belief, and I think a lot of it is down to you and your hashtags. You've got to take some responsibility for this.
Nah, I'm getting scared because of that.
Because you started all this nonsense years ago.
You know what's... years ago, yeah. You know what's mad, yeah? Like, I was just in my own little bubble, tweeting it. 21 is coming when we were 15. And everyone was like, oh, Adam being stupid. Look at this little knobhead. And then now I tweet you, and everyone's like, oh, don't tweet this, Adam. You're going to jinx us, and you fucking banana tire racer. And it's like, you weren't here when I was tweeting it 2 months ago when we were shit, you dicks.
Well, now it's like, there's a seriousness to it. I know it's mostly in jest, but there is a real
No, that's why
do you know what I mean?
If we beat Liverpool, if we beat Burnley and Liverpool, I ain't tweeting it no more.
Right, okay.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's because then it becomes the territory of, now you're going to believe us.
Yeah, don't.
These people don't realise I might hashtag a 21 who's coming, but I wouldn't be at the game saying we're going to win the league. You know what I mean? There's a little bit of fun involved there. But 21 is coming. And Ben Hayes said it in the comments.
Well, there you go. Ben knows.
Ben knows.
This is it, man. Believe, man.
You've got, and it's, look, jokes aside, it's just good to have a little bit of belief in it.
Mate, we've never been in a title race. Andy Mitten was doing an interview.
Never been in a title race.
Never in my life.
Come on, Jake. Calm down.
We've literally, as a club, never even had a title race.
I mean, you've seen some fan channels say some stupid things, but this is going to get clipped up and I'm going to be here.
Let me finish my sentence. We've never been in a title race since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. Because when you look at when we finished second, was there a title race then? No. Was there a point where
it was never a race?
Mate,
we lost against
City at home, 10 games in or whatever it was, and that was the end of that. We were 12 points behind them then, and we never got closer.
Because we went into that game and I was like, if we win this,
I remember,
chance,
this is it. We didn't. We lost. And it was like, right, that's the end of that. And that was the closest we've ever been to sort of being in a title race. So this is the first time since Fergie retired, before anyone wants to get silly, that we have been in an actual title race. And okay, we're only, 14, 15 games in or whatever. So it's very early doors. But I think Ollie hit the nail on the head a few weeks ago when he said, you can't be it's not a sort of title race just yet. But you can't be in the title race just now. This was a few weeks ago, but you can be out of it.
Yeah, it's what Fergie
you know
said.
what I mean?
You can lose a title now, but you can't win it.
Yeah, that was it. Sorry. Yeah, so we're in with a chance, and you beat Burnley, and what is it? We go top. I mean,
even if we draw, we're top. Mate, and you know what?
If
we drew against Burnley, and we were, because I remember saying, if we win our game in hand against Burnley, we're 4 points off Liverpool, and it's a title race. That's when I was saying 21 minutes coming. That was, and now if we beat Burnley, we're 3 points clear of them. So if we draw, we shouldn't even think, oh my God, we've lost all this, because we've gained.
That is mad. Like after you look at the Arsenal game, it's a good point you made before, because that was a low point again, wasn't it? And again, there's question marks. You lose to Tottenham 6-1. You lose to Palace at home. You lose to Arsenal, the worst Arsenal team I've ever seen in the Premier League. And it's like, even like people like me, again, have backed on you, like, he's on borrowed time here. If this carries on, people are going to start questioning him. And he plays up for it. He looked tired. Have we, do you know what I mean? Have we flattered to deceive even? We haven't, have we?
No.
You know what I mean? It's happening. Deal with it.
Deal with it. Tell you what, Burnley are going to have to deal with it Tuesday.
Nicely done.
They might have to deal with him if Farley picks him. Edinson Cavani, who is back. Obviously, we sort of fall out to everything that happened. What did you make of the Uruguayan FA's Luis Suarez and goal coming out to defend him?
Well, he can write off him. For starters, the first statement you want to make, you want to get involved in racism, is an apology to Patrice Evra, you absolute muppet. But I get it. I get it from the Uruguayan FA, because I don't think there's a massive difference between Luis Suarez and Luis Suarez and Edinson Cavani that we all know. I don't need to get into. But they must look at it and go, he's done nothing wrong. Like, he's not intentionally done anything wrong. So they're upset at it. So I kind of get it. But one thing I will say is I think that Edinson Cavani, and even United, the way they've handled it, I think it's been pretty spot on, because they've come out and said, he didn't mean it. We get there's a thing about racism, and let's try and move on. And
the thing was, he accepted it.
Yeah.
And still made the points that, like, right, I'll accept this because this is what you've done. But there's a bigger topic that needs to be... And I think that's fair. Like, I don't know, if, let's say, I speak another language of whatever. Let's say I was speaking Guji to someone and I said something to them that translated wrongly.
Yeah.
Can I get sacked for that? Or like, it's not... I think some people might call it cultural racism.
Yeah.
And I don't know too much about their culture. And I think there's an important point here. We very rarely hear from black Uruguayans on it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
no, that's a good point.
I've never really heard a black Uruguayan say, this isn't offensive. Do you know what I mean? Like, this isn't that. But yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I understand it, but I can understand why the Uruguayan FA have done it. But I just think like Edinson Cavani's dealt with it. I think he's dealt with it in the right way. There was none of this, let's all wear T-shirts or let's put out a statement saying his great-granddad's black or anything. That's nonsense. Let's just, take it on the chin sort of thing and move on. And I think that's what he's done. And he's done right to do that, because he must be incredibly frustrated, because he just sort of started scoring goals, getting into the swing of things, and he's had this suspension. But yeah, I think we can hopefully all move on and learn from this.
Defo. Edinson Cavani's Premier League stats are there on the screen. 9 appearances, 3 goals, 2 assists. He scored in his last game against Everton in the Cup.
Nice.
A goal in that game, which was great. A great goal as well, great finish. What do you make of his return? Obviously, he's coming back in. At the moment, Martial isn't going through his best period of time. Although he's scored a few goals recently, the Villa goal, Sheffield United, etc. He's not been in his best form.
Yeah.
Do you play them together? Because they're linked up quite well against Everton. Do you play one of them? Cavani, like, how do you see?
Well, you'll see when we get to the team predicted 11s. I've gone with them together. I think you can. For a game like this against Burnley, I think for the Scousers you might have to look at it differently, but because you might need an extra man in midfield or an extra holding midfielder. But I think you can play them both together, and I think that benefit Martial as well, having an out-and-out striker alongside him, because it's a bit weird, isn't it? We sort of play these three, and we have Marcus on the left, we have Mason on the right. Both of them like to cut inside. Both of them like to sort of try and get the shot off. And I think Martial suffers, for me, Martial suffers a little bit from, like, sometimes he needs to be a bit more greedy. You can argue he should be more clinical, should be more this and that, and that's a fair comment. But I also think he needs to be a bit more like
Rashford.
Yeah. Marcus gets near that box.
Rashford's annoyingly greedy sometimes.
And sometimes but Marcus, Wolves last minute, all he's thinking about is getting his shot off. And it ain't even a great shot, but he gets you the winner. Do you know what I mean? He does it all the time. PSG last, final minutes, all he wants to do, he gets in that box, get his shot off, and he gets you the winner again. And I think Martial has to have a little bit of a touch of that, because I'm seeing him getting into the area and then sometimes taking one touch too many, or doing this, like letting the ball run for someone else. Nah, you take the shot. Forget them. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I think he needs to do. And Cavani's like that. So I think them two playing together, because Martial isn't that greedy, Cavani is, I think he'll learn from him, and I think they can combine. Because if you're a defender, if you're a centre-back pair and you play football, looking at that, you've got the worst of both worlds, haven't you? You've got a tricky, skillful, running at you, Anthony Martial, and you've got Edison Cavani, who can go deep, drop in, he can get his head on things, he's a poacher. You know what I mean?
I also think
what am I dealing with here?
Tony's a bit better with his back to goal than
Yeah.
Eddie. In that he's constantly looking for that move, and I think that's where Martial lets himself down at times. I think the best way I can explain, because I think Martial's had better performances this season and not scored 100%. Than when he scored against Villa and proved to be the match winner. And I think he has played in the last 6 weeks. If you look at the Everton performance, Sheffield United, Leeds, Aston Villa, for example, his performances or his goal output and stuff has got better. But I do think it's when we're playing against a team that will push out a little bit and he's got that space in behind, he looks great when he gets on the ball, links up with players and all that. He looks good. What he needs to do more of is when the last game against Watford, for example, was it not against Watford? Which was one before that when Martial played?
Villa won it.
Was it Villa, yeah?
Yeah.
So against Villa, for example, in the second half, at times, or when teams sit back and there's two banks of four, he's looking for the perfect pass, constantly. Yeah. And I think sometimes you have to learn that I've got to go looking for this a little bit and make yourself... Because sometimes a striker needs a little bit of luck to get out of a rut.
Yeah.
And he's not making
maybe
his
that was
own
that, though, against Villa.
It was a good goal.
It was a good goal, but you almost want him just to get a goal. Do you know what I mean? I don't want you don't have to be any fancy, just getting your head on something, or just you know what I mean? Because that's another thing Cavani will do. He's he just gets his body onto things. He just gets in there, doesn't he? Do you know what I mean? We've seen him already. Those 3 goals you spoke about, they've been 3 different types of goals. So yeah, I mean, I've said this here a million times. I have faith in Anthony Martial, but there's no denying the fact that if we are going to be in this title race, he does need to start scoring more consistently, because he's got the ability.
We need those goals from him. Yeah. From Cavani, from Greenwood to contribute and
because
push us a bit.
There's only Marcus, who, despite his performances probably not being that great at times, if I'm being brutally honest, and I'm a massive fan, he still gets his name on the score sheet, which is what you want. Mason and Martial can have good games, especially Martial will play well, not necessarily score. Mason hasn't quite reached the form that we saw towards the end of last season. And again, long term, I'm not worried, but in the immediate future, we need to see that happen, don't we?
Let one of them hit form. Jordy Nelson with the super chat says, if we can't beat Burnley, we don't deserve the title. Simple as, which I think is fair enough. And shouts out the jerseys as well. If Burnley beat... I'm going to lock myself in my room, says S. Smart in there, who's obviously not looking forward to a potential... it would be disappointing if we didn't win this game. But here's a big game coming up. You've alluded to the fact you're going to start Cavani and Martial together.
Yes.
What's your team?
My team is... I've gone with David De Gea. You see it on the telly there. On the graphic even. On the telly. How old am I? Gone with David De Gea. I think Dean Henderson obviously been playing, but for me, David De Gea is going to come back in the team. I don't think there's any dramas there. There was some question marks about Luke Shaw. I think Ollie said he's going to assess it. So I've gone with Tellez at left back. I've gone with Maguire and Suan Zabi as centre back, because I think there's been some questions again about Victor Lindelof and Eric Bailly, how fit they are, and I think I'd rather rest them for Liverpool and be 100% that they're fit for Liverpool. And I think that's what Ollie might think as well. So that's why I've gone with Axel Tuanzebe. I've gone with Aaron Wan-Bissaka right back. I've gone with Nemanja Matic, holding midfielder. I don't think you need 2 holding midfielders against Burnley, and I'll get to why in a minute. But I've gone with him in that holding role, and I think he can do that on his own. And I've gone with a front 5. Marcus on the left, Bruno Fernandes is like a sort of attacking midfielder, number 10 if you will. Mason Greenwood on the right, and then Edinson Cavani and Anthony Martial up front, because I think that front 5 just destroys Burnley.
Is that 4-4-2, Jay?
Well, sort of. It's 4-1-3-2. I think
it's 4-4-2.
Technically, 4-4-2, really, isn't it? But yeah, do you know what? Get at Burnley, because yes, okay, you can't just take it for granted. They are a decent team, but I think we start like that, and those players that have mentioned, the attacking players, play to, even half their potential or half as good as they can do, will cause Burnley all sorts of trouble. Because I have a bit of a thing with Burnley. I think the likes of, everyone raves about Tarkowski and me and players like that, but I don't think they're that good.
Shit.
I know you're gonna hate me, and I'm not gonna watch along tomorrow, so you can't rub it in my face. But they're all right. But do you know what I mean? Come on, we should be getting at Burnley. We should be beating them. Come on, Macca. Don't give me this. Oh, you know what?
Yeah, we should be. We should.
Do you know what I mean, mate?
But now I'm scared.
I know. I get it, but we'll be all right.
All right. My team is David De Gea in goal, obviously. AWB, Maguire, Lindelof, Shaw. I think he'll keep Bay safe until Liverpool.
You need starts, don't he? If he's fit and Lindelof's fit, do you think Bay starts against Liverpool?
Yes.
Right.
Has to.
Fine.
If he doesn't,
disagree.
Oh, he's mad. Especially against their forwards. Then I've got Matic, Pogba, Marshall, Fernandes, Rashford, and Cavani. Marshall should be on the left of that, but he's on. The
cheeky. Yeah, I get that though, because if you are going to play one on the right, one on the left of Marcus and Martial, Marcus can play on the right, can't he? And he's done all right there, to be fair. Whereas Martial's, he's either in the middle or he's on the left.
And I think in the game where we played with Cavani and without, I think it may have been the Everton game, the ball didn't stick up there enough. So if the pass through wasn't good enough, it didn't stick. And I think Tony does bring someone that the others can play off.
Are you concerned at all with the fact that a lot of these players are going to be playing against the Scousers as well?
No, because I don't think they will.
Right.
So I think if you take Lindelof out of that, and you've got 5 days rest, which is good.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So if you put Lindelof out of that, put Bailly in.
Yeah.
I don't think Matic or Pogba will start against Liverpool.
Really?
And I imagine one of those front four wouldn't start against Liverpool.
Yeah, I think he's got to get a balance out, because we've been saying that you can't just take this for granted and go, well, the Scousers rest everyone, play Lingard and James, whatever. So he has got to get the balance right. So yeah, like you say, 5 days rest is actually pretty decent, isn't it? In modern day football, you usually get 2 or 3
in this period as well.
Do you know what I mean?
It definitely is. So yeah, that's my
strong
11.
team that I like to look at. I won't have any complaints if that was the starting 11. I think they're both strong teams. We've got a squad now as well, haven't we? For the first time in
And I think
years.
we mentioned, we're talking about players like Martial and that maybe haven't pulled their weight enough this season. But this is the opportunity now. Like we saw against Villa, 1 goal there, as it was 1 goal, fucking crucial. Do you know what I mean? If you get 1 goal here, and we win it, it's worth fucking 3. If you get a winner against, so you gotta just get decisive goals now. You might not get the numbers that you want to put up, but if you get decisive goals in the campaign, you can still prove to be very worthy. And I think that has to be the target for, especially like Cavani and that. Like,
do you remember and I'm not comparing him to, because he's silly, but there was a time when Eric Cantona scored 5 goals in, towards the end of the season, and they were all 1-0 wins.
1-0.
It was all match winners, man. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like Shearer scored a lot more goals than him, but Eric scored 5 match winning goals that won us the title. Now, like you're saying there, it doesn't necessarily have to be all our strikers are banging in 20 odd goals by the end of the season. They can score fewer goals, but if those goals are match winning ones and getting us to 3 points, if we beat Burnley 1-0, Martial scores, for example, it's better than him, scoring 3 in a 3-3 draw. So I'm happy with that, man. We just need to we need to keep winning.
We need that kind of mentality from everyone. We need game winners.
Yeah, and that goes in defence as well, we need how many times you've seen it over the years at United, holding out, because we didn't always blow teams away. There's times when we had to grind out in a 1-0 win, and it'd be like Rio and Vidic.
Even Villa?
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Eric Bailly throwing himself into things, not having it. And that's what we need to see from the defence as well as the attackers as well.
100%. Oh, man, so nervous for this.
Do you know what, mate? I do enjoy doing it with you, but I'm not. I'm glad I'm not on the watch along tomorrow, because you're going to be like a nervous wreck.
I was so chilled on the Watford watch along. We had a nice chat.
It was good, that, mate. It was just chatting. Oh yeah, there's a game. Oh yeah.
We always knew we were going to win.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We scored early. Watford weren't going to score.
Reminiscing and just chatting with your mates and getting in the comments and having a nice little chat.
And now tomorrow night, I'm going to be calling Bruno a twat. I'm going to be telling Marshall I hate him if he misses a chance.
Right. I was watching Southampton versus Scousers a week in my house, losing my mind. I was screaming at the telly,
But I clocked it. The lads believe. Did you see it after Villa? They fucking believe. And if you don't think Bruno's in that dressing room calling them all bastards,
Mate, he's
telling them.
He's the one in it.
He
He
needs
is,
to
mate.
let
That's
him
what
in.
you need. Like, you need someone like him. And you know what? The others have got it in them as well. They're not all like soft that they don't care. They do care, and you can tell that there's like you just need that one who's like the catalyst, and he is that on and off the pitch a little bit. Is like, we're not having this, lads.
You need to care and you
People
need
biting it,
quality, and
biting
he's got
that.
both
Yeah,
in
that's mad.
buckets. Defo. Burnley haven't been in great form this season.
No, they've struggled, haven't they? They're right near the bottom, aren't they? Is it?
Bit of a weird one. They've had a takeover and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But Nick Pope has 6 clean sheets in 40
Don't start with that, man.
Premier League appearances.
I've got visions. Is it Tom Eaton? I know it was at Old Trafford, but
Oh, God.
we don't want another one of them. He is good, Nick Pope. And they have got some decent players. I know I was being a bit harsh on the likes of me and Tarkowski before, but they're down near the bottom for a reason. And I think they've struggled. And I think that, yes, they've got money, but I don't know.
Howled against
It's a hard sell,
MK
innit?
Dons as well
I know, mate.
in the cup.
Is that penalties, that?
Yeah, he did
Ethan
go
Laird
well.
did well. Didn't he? See that little run he went on when he came on for MK Dons. But yeah, I think they've struggled. And yes, you're right, they've got money and maybe they're going to have to try and spend a lot of it to get themselves out of trouble. I just don't know the sort of calibre of player they can attract.
Well, they've beat Arsenal recently.
That don't count.
Drew
Though. Come
with
on, does
Villa.
it? Hey, something right.
Beat Wolves.
That's a
Lost
decent
against
result.
Leeds.
God.
Beat Sheffield United.
Yeah,
Drew
everyone
with
does that.
Everton. Lost 5-0 against City. City 5, Burnley 0 is the new Wigan, like Man United 4, Wigan 0, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, that's-
That's a sort of bang. Yeah, it's weird that, like you say, they've always been sort of mid-table safe, haven't they, Burnley, in the last few years, and now they seem to be getting dragged into it. And I don't know whether this might be a season where like they do a bit of a Bournemouth last time round, get sucked into it and end up going down. I don't know, but I think it's one of those games where, like, I don't keep repeating ourselves, but you just can't take it for granted because you know how tough it can be.
And they'll be physical. And that's why I went
Yeah.
with Matic Pogba in the midfield.
That's good, yeah.
bit of
yeah.
physicality. I think Fred and McTominay will be saved for the Liverpool game.
That's the thing with Pogba. People don't realise that, I think. When you think of physical, people think, oh, yeah, McTominay and Fred. But Pogba can have a battle in midfield.
Did you see when he weights Dembele at Wembley? You see when Noble tried to do
Noble was my favourite one.
just-
When Noble, like, and he just sort of went,
Yeah,
What
but you
you
know it's
doing?
funny, if Pogba did that to Noble,
Red card.
Pogba's sent off.
red card, 10 game ban.
Yeah.
What was he even doing? He was like he was trying to like
Grab-
kiss him or
yeah.
something. And Pogba just sort of went. And then at the end, Noble was like, oh, all right, mate. Like, yeah, obviously I'm all right. I'm not the one who just got thrown across the pitch, you fucking idiot. I'm fine. I don't want to make a complete knob of myself.
Yeah, fuck Mark Noble.
Mark Noble, man. Bore off.
twat.
He'll end up at Burnley. He stinks at Burnley.
Oh, he does, doesn't he? Oh, Burnley stinks of Burnley. God's sake, they don't even have 3G down there. Guys, thank you for tuning in.
Are we doing a score prediction quickly?
Oh, yeah.
How long have you been doing this for?
Not long. 8 years. What's your score prediction?
I'm going to go with an absolutely tense Adam McCullough's tossing tables about 1-0, 90th minute winner.
Oh, don't.
Adam McCullough storms off 5 times during the watch along, comes back to see his boy Tony Marshall get a 90th minute winner. There you go.
Fuck you, we need to win. I'm going 4-0 Manchester United.
Oh, mate.
we're gonna be singing
Mate.
21. We're gonna be going off
No,
our heads.
mate,
Yeah,
don't do it.
It's energy
Energy in the air.
trophies in the AM. Please. Right. Thank you for tuning in. This has been the preview of Manchester United against Burnley at Turf Moor, where hopefully United will be going 3 points clear at the top of the table. Come on.